recording. All right. I'm so excited you guys are here. I'm pumped about, I'll tell you what, I'm pumped about sharing the bullet journaling because I have been the person with like all the notebooks. I have the online, I did Trello boards, which I still love Trello, but I had the Trello boards and I had the online calendar and then I had the paper calendar. I'd spend all kinds of money on the, Erin Condren planner that was like $70. And then I would get it and I would be frustrated that there was like not the right layout for me, or I would run out of pages, or I would skip 7 days, right? I didn't do anything. I went on vacation 1 week and I have all these blank pages. And so I always found myself like frustrated. Anybody been there, right? And then you have all the notebooks, and I would have a notebook for my business and a notebook for my family and a calendar for my family and a calendar for me. And then a notebook for my Bible notes and a notebook for this. And then I was overflowing with notebooks, right? And I am not a naturally organized person. Okay. I'm not like, it doesn't come easy to me to be organized. I have to be very intentional with being organized. So I found bullet journaling. Actually, I didn't know what it was until March. It was the very beginning of March this year that I came across bullet journaling. I don't even know how. And I consumed some YouTube videos and I immediately went out. We were traveling. This was the point in time, for those that know us, know we traveled for 2 months and we were traveling, and I went out to Target and I was like, I'm doing this bullet journal. I'm so excited, right? Like felt like this was the answer for me. And I have fallen in love with it. I will bullet journal the rest of my life. I will never do it another way. I will never buy another calendar again. I will buy dotted notebooks. I probably won't buy a notebook again other than my dotted bullet journals. So I'm going to walk you through exactly what I do, what that looks like, and then at the end, open it up for questions for you guys. Okay. Question in the comments. How many notebooks do you have? You might not know, right? But like, how many are you actively carrying right now? How many do you keep on you and you feel like you use or you reference or are sitting on your shelf only half filled, right? 5,011, absolutely. Jeanette, none. Jeanette's an electronic person, right? So how many notebooks do you have? 10-ish, 4, a billion, see, right? Do you guys get overwhelmed with the notebooks? I do, right? I totally do. So in comes, the bullet journal. What if you could just have everything that you need in one place? Everything you need in one place. For me, it was like, oh, if I can have one thing that I can fit in my purse, I can take with me everywhere, and it has everything I need in it, right? Between these two things, my bullet journal and my phone, I have all I need, right? So Madeline, 1 million plus calendar, and electronic notebooks. Yep. So, okay. So what if you could have it all in one place? So getting started with bullet journaling. For me, like I said, it was all about just having one spot. And as we walk through this, you'll see what I mean, but having one spot for everything. So I'm no longer getting overwhelmed. I'm no longer losing notes. I'm no longer, spending money, honestly, wasting money on notebooks and on calendars. And so the couple essentials, you guys got this when you registered, but a dotted journal. Why a dotted journal? Because you get to lay it out. You get to lay out these spreads that we're going to talk about any way that you want. The dotted journal gives you basically a guide to build out your journal however you want to create it. Okay. You want to have a ruler. It's not like 100% necessary, but it's going to make it a lot cleaner to have a ruler. I showed you guys like using the protractors. I had a really big, like 12-inch ruler, but it's so much bigger than my book. It was a pain in the butt. So I like these tiny little rulers with edges. I like this because it has the round, but just grabbing some little rulers that are clear You want them to be clear too, so you can see the dots on the other side, so you can see through it, okay? Your pens, I shared again the pens that I love. You want to test any pens that you get, you guys. You want to test, have a test page on your bullet journal to make sure you can use it and it doesn't bleed, because that's the worst. But these, y'all, I have a Bible. I use these in my Bible too. I have a Bible that has really thin pages, and I write straight on my Bible with these and it doesn't bleed through. So I have two different versions here, the Micron, the Pigma Micron, which I shared with you guys. And then there's like a generic version, and it just says micro tip pen. You can find these on Amazon by Shuttle Art, micro tip pen. And I like to buy the assorted pack. So, you know, these are all different sizes. The 0.01 is super fine point. And then I have the 5 millimeter, it goes up to the 0.5 millimeter, which is thicker. And I like to use them, like my thicker pens for the heading, and then my really thin ones for my notes and things like that, where I want to write smaller. So these, the highlighters, the mild liner highlighters are the best as far as color, as far as not bleeding at all. And they're dual-sided. So you have the pen tip and then you have the flat highlighter tip. So all of those things you can find on Amazon, you can find at Michael's. The other thing that I recommend that's not, like, again, super necessary, but it helps it make everything look cuter without you being very creative, and that's washi tape. So I go to Michael's for my washi tape. You can buy it on Amazon too, but Michael's has like a big, beautiful wall of washi tape, and you can pick out, and, you know, I like to do my brand colors. So washi tape. So those are basically it. You can really get started with a pen and a journal, right? But these are the things that are going to make you enjoy the experience of creating your bullet journal. Okay. So here are the basics when you start out with your bullet journal. So I have two so far. My first one I filled up. Basically this has 3 months in it, I think, maybe 4 months in it. And I filled it up in 4 months, and that's okay, right? Because then I label it and I put it on the shelf, and I have it always to go back to in the future. So before I get into the basics of what's in it, I want to tell you, like, why I love this, besides having everything in one place. You know, when I was moving, and this is part of what spurred this on, when I was moving out of my house, I went through and was decluttering, because we got rid of everything. If it didn't fit in our 10 by 20 storage unit or the trailer we were pulling behind our car, it didn't go. And so I found all these notebooks and piles and piles of notes and calendars and all these things. And you guys, are y'all like me? Like, you have a hard time letting some of that stuff go, right? Like, there's treasures in there. And I think about, like, my grandmother had a journal, and when she passed away, us all reading through her journal, and she, you know, and she told us, when I die, don't get mad at me when you read some of the stuff I wrote about you in my journal. But she had this journal, and it was so cool because you could go back and you could really see what life looked like for her and her perspective. And so that's one thing I feel really like that I love about this is my kids, when I'm gone, can go back through here. I can go back through here, and I have them dated, so I can go back and look, you know, where was I 2021? What did life look like for me? Where was I? You know, I wrote about my travels and things like that. So plus I could see my calendar, everything I did. So, all right. So here are the basics to getting started in your journal. I'm going to show you examples of this. So the things that you are must-haves in your journal, number one is your key. You won't need a key for long, but you'll need a key in the beginning, just so you know, like, what your symbols are. Okay. And I'm going to show you an example of that on the next page. You want your index page. What I love about this is I just go straight through my journal. I just keep filling it. And the index page is where I can write, you know, notes. In fact, right here, this is one from March. This says Elite Retreat. I went to a mastermind retreat, and I have about 4 pages of notes from that retreat. So on my index page, I put Elite Mastermind Retreat. and then listed the pages that those notes are on. So it's basically your table of contents in the beginning, right? So you can continually add. And let's say like one thing I put in is my Bible notes or my Sunday morning notes from church. Well, I want those as I go. I didn't create a section for it, but in the front of my journal on the index, I can say, church notes, and I can just list out the page numbers. So that's why I encourage you guys to get a Rive journal or something like it that has already numbered. Because my first journal wasn't already numbered, and that was a pain in the butt to number all the pages, right? So find a dotted journal that has the numbers already on the pages. And the other thing I like about the Rive journal is it already has an index. It has the key and it has the index right up front where you can just start listing it out. Otherwise, you can create it. Okay, and again, I'm going to show you examples of all this. Then you have your future log. Your future log is like, hey, the next 3 to 6 months or year, I'm going to lay out what are those things that I need to remember, right? Whether that's travel, big events, birthdays, things like that. And then a monthly log, which is basically your month calendar. And then deciding between a weekly or a daily spread. So do you want to do a week at a time, a week at a glance spread in your journal, or do you want to do day by day? And I'm going to show you examples of all of that. So let's dive into that. So here is a snapshot of one of my key. Okay. So I have an event or an appointment is an open circle. A task is a closed dot. So that's a things to do, right? Then I have when the task is complete, I put an X through the dot. If I'm going to migrate the task, meaning I'm moving it to the next day. I had it on today. I didn't get it done. I'm moving it. Then I use the little I guess that would be greater than sign to move it over to the next day. And I write that task on the next day. A dash is going to be a note. The stars I use every single day, and they're my priorities. So they go at the top of my day. And then I have an exclamation point for inspiration, a little clock for due date, a little dollar sign for bills or payments that are due, and a question mark for something I want to explore more. So Google will be your best friend. And you can say bullet journal key ideas and just look it up and see what people have. Some people are really fancy. If you're artistic, you guys, I have really great handwriting, but I am not artistic. Okay. So some people look at my journal and they're like, oh my gosh, look at, because I have great handwriting. However, I am not like artistic. So my symbols are simple. I'm not drawing. Some people have little muscles and weights and, a glass for like, I ain't doing all that, right? I don't have time for all that. But if you're super creative and that like feels good to you, then you can Google like fancy bullet journal ideas, creative bullet journal ideas, and you'll find a ton there. Okay. So then the other thing you have, this is an example of my future log. So yes, see, that's my handwriting. So I created my future log with this journal just for the last half of the year. So August, September, October, November, December, really simple, the calendar up top and then just dates down at the bottom that I need to remember. And why I have this is as I'm building out my monthly spreads, I can reference this and put those dates on there. And then let's say I run out of room and by the end of October, this journal's empty, then I'll just migrate the future log over to my next journal. Okay. So here's a couple examples of an index. Just really simple. I keep it super simple. What the thing is that you're referencing and what the page numbers are. I like this one on the left. The idea on the right is having your calendars separate from your collections. So if you're not wanting to look through everything to go, where's my monthly spread? You can separate that out, or you can do what I do. And I just use washi tape and mark my calendars. So I just use washi tape and make little tabs for my calendars. Okay. So this is an example of before I finished filling it out, my September. So this is a 2-page spread. I create the calendar up in the corner. Not a ton of space on the calendar to write a ton in, but I just want to have like a quick overview, quick glance of what are my important things or trips. And then I have a box for my goals, and I pick 3 primary goals that are my focus. And then over on the next page, I will do my priorities to help me reach those goals. And then I read the Ogmandino scrolls every month. So I'll write out like my key phrase of the scroll that I want to say over and over. This month is, I will act now. And then I have a weekly score. I do a daily score each day, but then I take the average and put up a weekly score. And this is just like, how did I do based on what I said I was going to get done in the day, right? I put my 3 priorities. Did I get them all done? You know, did I keep in with my time blocks that I created? And I'll give myself a weekly score, because what you measure, you can improve, right? So anytime you can measure something, you have a way to focus on improving it. So then I have new social marketers, new customers, a place to write those things in. All right. Then right now, I'm doing a weekly spread. I did a daily spread in my old journal, and I didn't use it. I didn't use it every day, all day. So I'm going to stop my share really quick and show you. This is what my, hold on, daily spread looked like. Let me make myself the speaker. Where am I? Spotlight for everyone. Okay, so this is what I did before. I know it's backwards, but I had my gratitudes up top, events here, tasks here, and notes here. But I found myself using a lot of pages for that and didn't necessarily need it all. So that's when I migrated over in my new journal, and I do the weekly. So I just laid it out like this, super simple, right? The columns, Monday through Sunday. Moving forward, I would do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, smaller. So my columns are wider. But then I just highlight, I just basically section off the top for my events, my calendar appointments. And then I have a section for my priorities, and then for notes is typically what I do. And then I keep a running weekly to-do list on this side. So, and I only have one big to-do list to migrate each week, right? But I have the full to-do list here. And then when I'm mapping out my week, I will take from my to-do list and go, where am I time blocking this in for my week to get it done, right? And it might just be miscellaneous to-dos as a time block. And I just go down as quick as I can and get those done. But maybe they're really big things, and those I make as priorities, okay? So that's how I do. And I would recommend this, that you don't map out your whole journal. So it's tempting when you get your journal that you want to fill the whole thing, put all the calendars in there. I actually recommend you only do the month when the month, right before the month starts. And then you do 1 week at a time, because you want to be able to adjust. If you're like, this spread's not working for me, you can flip it, you can change it, right? Until you find you've mastered it. Like, this is what I love. And I created all my calendar stuff up front, and I would rather, like, looking back, right? I'd rather have, here's my week, and here's the notes and the things that happened that week. And then I start the next week, and I have all my weeks together, with my notes and things like that. And you never know how many pages you're going to need for notes. So, all right. So this is what, like, one of my weeks looked like, right? I had my AM appointments, my PM appointments, things to do. That wasn't a full complete one, but here are a couple of spreads that are daily spreads that I just screenshotted from somebody that I follow on YouTube that does bullet journaling. So you can see, you can keep it super simple. You can get a little more fancy. I do my gratitudes. I created a section in the front of my journal for gratitudes rather than putting them every day. Hindsight, now I actually want to go back and do gratitudes on each day. But it doesn't matter, whatever works for you, right? All right, so then there's the extras. So those are the basics. Those are the things that are just your basic bullet journal stuff. And then we have extras, okay? Some people call them collections. You can create trackers. You can create lists. You can create goals. You can put in your notes. You can put it, your quotes. So I'm going to show you a couple of the different things that I've added to my journal. So here I did my ideal morning. Okay. So I have a page in my journal that is tabbed for me to go, okay, on my mornings, this is what I want to walk through. This is what my miracle morning looks like. Right. And so as this changes, I can make changes here, but this is my ideal morning. It's not perfect. I won't always make my mornings look like this, but this is the plan. This is the goal. And so rather than putting this on my calendar every single day, I actually do have it on my electronic calendar. These things by the time, like 10 minutes to wake up and drink my water, 45 minutes to walk and listen to a podcast, 30 minutes to read my Bible, pray, and drink my coffee, 10 minutes to do my gratitude, goals, visions, and then breakfast, get dressed. And then my seed session is my power hour every morning. And I know my power hour is at 9 o'clock every day. It's in my calendar. It's time blocked. It does not change. I have accountability because a whole bunch of people, are expecting me at that time every morning. And so I backtrack that, and it means I need to get up at 6:25 in the morning, right? I used to wake up at 4:30 when I was Central Time Zone, but I am now learning that I need a little more sleep. So, okay, so your ideal morning. I have a weight tracker. It's super stupid and simple, but it helps me have a visual and go, right? I started losing weight. I need to focus. It's not a huge, massive goal, right? It's 11 pounds, but I'm keeping track of getting to my goal. I threw in there, my monthly business expenses, my monthly household expenses. DMO, this isn't fancy, y'all. My DMO is just a quick reference because I pretty much know what I need to do every week. But your daily method of operation, what is it that you're doing every day to build your business? Have that down somewhere. And a couple of fun ideas for that is I've seen people do where they will cut their journal. So let's say you have this is like your DMO down here, and then they will take several pages and cut it. And so it's smaller. Say it's in here like this, and then you can flip those pages. So it almost makes a journal in a journal. So if you wanted to have where you're like checking off every day, right, that you've done the things. If you're a checklist person, you could do that, or you could create a tracker that's more like this, that has your daily method of operation, and then you check off by date, if you're a checklist person. So this is what's so fun about this, guys, is you can make it however you want. All right. And then I've got my goal is to get to 10,000 followers on Instagram. So every once in a while, I just jot down my number, where I'm at on Instagram followers. And if it's not moving quick enough, I'm going, am I doing the things I said I would do to build my Instagram? Like I said, what you track grows. This, I just started a little page for Reels ideas, so I don't sit there for 18 years trying to figure out. I spent literally, y'all, like an hour looking at Reels, trying to figure out what to create next. I created what I felt like was a freaking bomb, awesome reel. And then I posted it, and all the text turned into messed up video. And I had to delete it. I was like, that's the biggest waste of my time. Anyway, but here we go. So Reels ideas. I'm like, I just need to start jotting this down so I'm not spending so much time trying to come up with a reel. Okay. I have a little spot. I just throw all kinds of stuff in here, you guys, but desired daily habits. So do you ever say, oh, I need to start doing that every day? Right? So all those things that come to mind that I'm like, oh, I want it. So I created a little section for daily desired habits. So drink a gallon of water a day, one at a time. I'm going to get, some of these I've mastered already. Some of these I don't have to think about, but text a friend just to say hi. That's something I want to start doing every day. So when you have it down, you have it in front of your face, you're more likely to do it, right? Okay. All right. So a couple other lists I have: a bucket list, a book list, right? The books that I have that I want to read. Okay, so those are some of my lists and things. I want to go back really quick. Okay. So you can do habit trackers. If you just Google habit trackers, if that's something you like to do is track habits, you can do a habit tracker. There's fun little layouts using the grids on there. You know, so I have a goal to have 1,000 students in my course. So it's not pretty, but I have a little tracker where I'm checking off, and I get to visually see like how close I'm getting to my goal. I have, a place with quotes, like my favorite quotes that I write down, that I can reference easily and memorize, right? My favorite scriptures. So that's what I love about these, guys. You just put whatever you want in there. Yeah. All right. So here's my tips and tricks. After doing this since March, number one, keep your journal with you all the time, right? It doesn't work if it's not with you. So I have it open. I look at it before I go to bed. I look at it when I wake up in the morning. I take it with me when I run out. And I always, always, always have it with me. Okay. Don't overthink it. Like, you do not have to have any kind of perfection. You don't have to overthink. Don't waste time going, what should I do? How should I do it? Just create. And guess what? Washi tape is your best friend because it's great whiteout. If I screw something up, I'm like, oh, let's just make it decorative. And I stick washi tape over it. And create as you go. Like I said, in the beginning, I was like, I want to lay the whole thing out. Well, then I didn't use it the right way. It was just like all the paper planners I bought that I didn't use the way they were intended. So create it as you go, and then move forward imperfectly. Don't get stuck in perfection mode. It doesn't matter if your handwriting isn't perfect. It doesn't matter if the colors aren't perfect. It doesn't matter if you used a highlighter that you thought, oh my gosh, that combo is so ugly. When I did August, I was like, ew, that pink and green look horrible together. Who cares, right? Move forward imperfectly. And then Pinterest and YouTube are going to be your best friends. So you can Google, Pinterest, YouTube, create a board. There's so many cool ideas. And like I said, the more creative you are, the more you probably want to dig into all of that, all of those fancy layouts and spreads. But I'm telling you guys, this has been such a game changer for me. And something to go back and reference. And then a couple other things. So I teach, I know a lot of you on here are in my Foundations of a Six-Figure Mompreneur class. So in that course, I talk about creating your GPS, creating your 411, basically mapping your goals, goal setting to the now, and how to be intentional every single day. And so use your bullet journal to lean into that, to create, put your GPS in your bullet journal and let it be something that you look at often, right? So many times we set all these big goals for our life, these things we want to do, accomplish, and we never pay attention. We never measure, right? We never reflect. And so that's, one of the things with my bullet journal and, creating those flows every day. Like in the morning, I get up, I look at this. It's in front of me when I'm reading my Bible. I put my Bible notes in it. It's in front of me when I'm writing my gratitudes in it. And then going to bed at night and going, what was my day like? Rating my day. What was my day like? What did I do well? What do I need to improve on? And if we can make a habit of this, how much can we change our life? Right. And so, and then a couple other tips I just wanted to tell you, like, I do keep an electronic calendar. So I have my Google Calendar that I put everything on. And then on Sunday night, I sit down and I look at my Google Calendar and I map out my week into my bullet journal. And so that way I'm not filling my bullet journal with stuff that might change, right? And so I'm bringing it every single week. So on Sunday night, I lay out my next week. And then I also look at what in the past week did I not accomplish that I need to move forward. And what did I not accomplish that I just need to remove from my list? Right. And so many times we have things on our list, our to-do list, that, let's be real, we're never doing. So instead of letting it stare you in the face and make you feel depressed that you never do it, just take it off your list. If you've migrated it 4 times to 4 different weeks and you still haven't done it, is it really important? And if it is, pay someone to do it. Right? So, okay, I'm going to unspotlight my video and open it up to see, do you guys have any questions, thoughts for me?
Hi, Wendy. It's Paul.
Hi, Pam.
You know I have a question. Always, right? My quick question is, you are super busy. You're busier than all of us on here put together. When did you find the time or fit it in to get started? Did you take like a night away at the hotel like you told me to do when you were doing your planning for 90 days?
So I was in a hotel because we were Airbnb-ing at the time. And I just took a night. I just took a night, a couple hours one night, and just figured out how I wanted to do it and lay it out. And like I said, if you're not filling out the whole thing and you're just going like, I'm going to just make my month calendar, right? I'm just going to lay out this, the biggest part, the hardest part in the beginning is your index, your key, which you can do pretty quickly. And then your future log, and then your month, and then you're good. Then the rest you can do as you go. So I love the time that it takes actually to create my month, because at the end of the month, right? How often do we just rush into the next month and we don't reflect? When I'm actually laying it out and creating my next month spread, it helps me to reflect on the previous month and to plan upcoming. It's actually a really good time for me to get refocused. So yeah, I think like in an hour or 2, you should be able to get it started. And then it's just, doing it as you go. Again, being imperfect and okay with it.
Thank you. That was very helpful.
You bet. Anybody else? Anybody see this and go, oh my gosh, this is going to change my life like I did, or no?
I did. I like it. I think it's a great idea. I have a couple notebooks. Literally, if you saw my desk right now, it's a hot mess express. So I think this is going to be really great.
Yeah.
So when you put, like, I have a gratitude journal, I have, my side hustle journal, I have, like you said, all of these things. You literally put them all in here, like everything. All of it. The
only thing I would separate possibly is if you want one for your personal and one for your business. You could.
Okay.
I don't, because that's too much for me. I don't want 2 journals, right? So I just do one. Now we have a calendar for my family. That's just 1 month calendar, right? And that's what we use for the family. Some people that like meal plan. I don't meal plan, my husband cooks. So if you meal plan, and if you want to do all that stuff and have like a family one, you can do a family one too. But like I said, I put everything in one book. And one thing I didn't talk about that I meant to is with regards to your network marketing business. For those of you building a network marketing business or building any business, I also have a prospecting list in mine. Right? So I have in the very back, I have my hot prospects. So I don't put everyone on there. These are the ones that are like, I know I want to, or I believe I can close them, right? That I am going to follow up with until they join me, right? That's that list. So I have a prospecting list in there. Every single day, I try and pick 3 people that stood out to me that day that are my dream team people that I want to add to my team at some point, and I put their names down that day. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with Marina Simone talks about her 3-3-3 method, but basically making a new connection, right? And for 3 days engaging with that person. And so if there's somebody that I made a new connection with and I really liked them, I like the way they show up online, I think they'd be a great business partner or client, then I'm going to write their name down on the next 3 days as I'm going to engage with them for 3 days, right? So think about that too. Another idea is using Post-it notes. So you guys know those little skinny Post-it notes, right? You can actually put prospects' names on those and move them, right? Move them to the next day you want to follow up. So that's an idea. Even for, there's all kinds of different sticky notes. So I've seen people do the long sticky notes, like for your to-do list or for your DMO, where you can write out what you want to do every day. And that's permanent, but then you have the sticky notes next to it that you peel off one by one as you check off that you've done it. So there's so many different ideas, but using this notebook, this journal to track for your business is huge. I also have, I track my numbers. I do it online too. And I have a sheet online, but I like to do it. I don't know. There's something about writing it down. I'm trying to find it in my old book. I didn't number all my pages in my old book. That's why this time I got a numbered one. Okay, there it is right in the front. So I had like my daily, like I tracked my numbers, which I'm in a new journal here, but my org volume. So I can just see at a glance, where am I today versus where was I last month and the month before. So there's all kinds of different things you can do for your business too, to put in there.
I missed a little bit, Wendy, but I don't know, you might have talked about this, but one of the things that I've found really helpful is, because I'm so visual, like if you're working on a goal, doesn't have to be business, although it can be a benefit of the business. Say if you're trying to save a certain amount of money, or you're trying to pay down a certain amount of debt, you can have that on, because I do mine like a month, but then I do kind of a week at a glance. And just having that, I mean, it's whatever your goal is, you can say bumping up your emergency fund, and then the actual act of moving it over from week to week, it just, I mean, it works for us.
Yeah, I love that. So having your goal, like if you're trying to reach something, attain something, or pay down debt, having that every week that you're migrating it over and tracking. I love that. Yeah, I have like a list of, financial goals, like things I want to, and I have my things I want to buy or things I need to spend money on, like financial priorities, right? Like I got to get some kids to the dentist. That's number one on my list right now, that, because I don't have dental insurance, and it's unfortunately probably going to be $1,000 to take them. So, that's next on my financial priorities. So when money comes in, I go look at my financial priorities and go, right, I shouldn't go buy some shoes. I need to take my kids to the dentist. Any other questions or thoughts you guys have? So I love this. Like I said, finish up. When you finish one up, put the date on it. I'm going to get a label maker. Put the date on it, and then on the spine, stick it on your shelf. And, I might have 3 or 4 books a year. I'm okay with that. But it's going to be cool too, to go back and look and reflect. Another idea I've seen is putting a vision board in the front of yours. So you know how you would do a vision board where you like cut out on poster board? We'll make a little mini one in your book, and, cut out some pictures or words or sayings and put those on there. All right. Was this helpful? Get you guys started. No questions? This went by quick. All right. I will be sending out the replay link, and for those people that were not on, if you have any friends that weren't on, let them know. They'll be getting the replay. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. And I want to see your bullet journals. Tell me how you do. I want to see pictures. Let me know.
Thank you. Thank you, Wen.
You're welcome. All right. Bye, y'all.